Welcome to Forever Tales, where every story lives on, forever. The night was thick with sand and smoke. A Navy SEAL team lay pinned behind a ruined wall somewhere deep in hostile territory. Their mission, to secure a convoy route for humanitarian supplies, had collapsed when an enemy force 3 times their size ambushed them. For hours, the SEALs fought with grit, but the ammunition was running dry and the night sky was alive with tracer fire. The team leader, Commander Davis, radioed for support. "Air cover, immediate!" He barked into his comms, though doubt echoed in his voice. The terrain was treacherous, high ridges, narrow valleys, and a maze of enemy anti-air emplacements. The SEALs knew this was the kind of environment where planes couldn't maneuver. The command center's response came back with hesitation. "We're dispatching an A-10, call sign Iron Hand." The SEALs exchanged glances. An A-10? The aircraft was legendary for toughness, but in such a confined valley, even its wide wingspan seemed doomed. Davis muttered, "It's impossible. He won't make it through." Yet miles away in a lone cockpit, Captain Ryan Carter tightened his grip on the stick. Known among his squadron as the Storm Rider, Carter had survived missions others wouldn't even attempt. He listened to the chatter, the doubt, the impossible. A calm grin spread across his face. "Impossible," he whispered into his mask. "Then let's make history!" He throttled forward, the roar of twin turbofans vibrating through his bones. The Warthog was slow compared to fighters, but Ryan knew its strength wasn't speed. It was resilience, precision, and a pilot's will. As he neared the valley, he could see the enemy's anti-air batteries sparking to life. One wrong move, and he'd be shredded before he even lined up a shot. Back with the SEALs, Davis listened to the approaching engine echo against the cliffs. The sound was low, steady, like thunder rolling across the mountains. For the first time that night, hope flickered. But still, the thought lingered. No one can fly through that storm and live. Carter dove low, hugging the contours of the valley like a hawk on the hunt. His A-10 wasn't sleek, but it could dance with the terrain in the right hands. Every movement demanded precision. Too high, and the enemy radar locked him. Too low, and the cliffs would swallow him whole. The wind whipped violently through the canyon, a chaotic current that tossed his aircraft like a toy. But Carter had trained for this. Instead of fighting the wind, he used it, banking with its flow, letting it sling him tighter into turns. Where another pilot might panic, he felt a rhythm, a hidden language in the storm. "SEAL team, this is Iron Hand. Paint me your targets." His voice was steady, as if he were on a training run. "Targets?" Davis almost laughed. "There's a dozen positions." "You can't," Carter cut in. "Watch me." Moments later, the valley lit up with the growl of the A-10's GAU-8 cannon. A storm of depleted uranium rounds tore into the ridgeline, silencing one anti-air battery in seconds. The SEALs ducked as the earth shook, eyes wide in disbelief. Enemy gunners scrambled, repositioning their weapons, but Carter was relentless. He rolled the A-10 sideways, skimming so close to the rock face that sparks flew as his wingtip kissed stone. Then he pulled up sharply, riding an updraft like a surfer catching a wave. His cannon roared again, shredding a convoy of technicals that had been cutting off the SEALs' retreat. Davis shouted into the radio, adrenaline surging. "You're insane, pilot, but don't stop!" The battlefield transformed. Where moments ago the SEALs had been outnumbered and cornered, now enemy positions were falling apart under the A-10's fury. Carter was everywhere at once, striking like lightning, vanishing into the canyon, then returning with thunder. When a missile streaked toward him, he didn't dodge by brute force. Instead, he dipped into a crosswind, letting the gust bend his path just enough for the missile to slam harmlessly into the cliffs. The SEALs, watching from below, realized what they were witnessing. He wasn't fighting the storm, he was riding it. "Impossible," Davis whispered again, this time with awe. By dawn, the valley was silent. Smoke curled from destroyed enemy weapons, and the SEALs stood in disbelief amid the ruins of what had once been certain defeat. Carter's A-10 hovered above them, battered, wings pockmarked with holes, but still flying strong. The extraction choppers finally arrived, their pilots astonished at the cleared landing zone. Davis keyed his mic. "Iron Hand, we owe you our lives." I said it was impossible. Guess I was wrong. Carter's laugh came back warm and easy. Commander, impossible's just a word people say before history proves them wrong. The SEALs boarded their helicopters, glancing one last time at the lone A-10 circling overhead like a guardian. They knew they had witnessed something more than survival. They had witnessed a rewriting of battlefield doctrine, a living story that would be told in training halls and war rooms for decades to come. Back at base, Carter stepped out of his Warthog, dust-covered and exhausted, but with that same calm grin. His squadron rushed to meet him, bombarding him with questions. How did he survive the winds? How did he thread the canyon? He shrugged. Sometimes the storm isn't your enemy. Sometimes it's your ally. Reports flooded in. Intelligence confirmed that the enemy forces had been broken, their ambush shattered beyond repair. A mission that had been written off as hopeless became a turning point. Word spread quickly. The A-10 pilot who rode the wind. Soon, SEALs who had doubted him were the first to tell the tale. Training manuals began to cite his maneuvers. Young pilots whispered his call sign with reverence. But for Carter, the legacy wasn't medals or recognition. It was simpler. He had answered the call when others thought it couldn't be done. And in doing so, he reminded everyone that courage, skill, and belief could bend the impossible. High above the desert, the A-10 thundered once more, wings scarred, heart unbroken, carrying the legacy of a battle no one would ever forget.